Dear reader, allow me to introduce you to my book. Though it might at first appear like many books you've come across, it is far from ordinary. You may, therefore, have some misunderstandings about its nature. The story that awaits you has not been fully told. In fact, its conclusion is not yet. It is in that way that my book is. It is in that way that you, without you. Chapter 1. Normal isn't what it used to be. This is a story about change. Nestled in a shallow valley is the town of Beacon Pine. Far from the town square, across the river, past the neglected welcome sign, a young boy walks. His name is Luca Van Horn, and like you, dear reader, was Luca's closest friend. He possessed many fine qualities, but subtlety was not one of them. Rollo finally noticed the tears welling in his friend's eyes and the flowers on the grave. Wonderful. I had a good feeling about you from the moment you opened my book. That charm is a very special thing. Very special indeed. Keep hold of it for now. Its purpose will reveal itself soon enough. Rollo looked to the side suspiciously. Dear reader, forgive me for this. Remember that charm you found in the dandelion? There are more of those special charms to discover throughout Beacon. They've been known to reveal themselves to those who are willing. Some of them can be found in... Since Gran had moved in, the house was more peaceful and more covered in flowery fabric. One of his father's old studies, Luca had spent countless hours listening to anything and everything. Not for years, though. Gran had already lit the fire. She kept a warm house, as if by grandmotherly obligation. Just some dusty knickknacks. An array of prepared meals crowded the refrigerator, each labeled with the day of the week. A pair of dull scissors, a broken can opener, a mostly empty bottle of glue, and some loose straw. The only piece of furniture Gran had brought when she moved in was an old... Oh my! I am now certain that you are the one I've been... You'll recall I was a bit coy regarding the use of charms earlier. Excuse me, I tend to have a flair for the... You are about to encounter your first turn. There are certain times in this tale when everything hinges on a single word. Step forth, dear reader. A sturdy old wheelbarrow. Young Luca would spend hours hiding in the bushes, waiting for a chance to jump out and startle his mother. She always enjoyed humoring him by feigning terror. A beginner's guide to gardening laid open on the bench. Lucas stared at his feet and muttered under his... Right, of course. Luca paused at his parents' bedroom. He just wasn't ready to go. Gran had commandeered the upstairs closet when she moved in. Some things need shelter from a young boy's mischief, she said. Luca tossed on his favorite. Even though it was the first day of summer, Gran's moving in meant that most of Luca's things had been... Luca was somewhat annoyed by this. Gran's bed was undisturbed. Luca didn't mind that she had a habit of falling asleep in front of the... It meant that he could read late into the night. The less Gran knew, the better for everyone. for the day. The best lies are built on truth. Easy. Impressive. You've managed to navigate your first turning point without too... That is the power of charms. A single word can change everything. I think it's time to introduce you to the... The Chronicle is a record of the decisions you've made. You can see the turning point, which has been revealed. At any time, you can use the Chronicle to go back and invoke different charms, creating new branches. Luckily for us, this is the one and only turning point where the charms won't dramatically alter fate. It's the perfect opportunity to experiment. We were just gonna go hide for the day. Traditionally, when one is trying to hide something, they avoid litter. All's well that ends well. The road leading to Beacon Pines was long and a sort of natural barrier for the impatient. Chapter 2. Welcome to Beacon. For many years, this valley... It wasn't until Sharper Valentine built his fertilizer company that Beacon Pines was established. Over the next 30 years, until the foul harvest. In the 6 years since, everyone was simply trying to get by. Was the CEO of... He had become a fixture around town over the past few... After the failing of Valentine fertilizer, the town was hungry to welcome a new source of... Augustus Valentine. Flustered, Gus instinctively loosened his tie. Mr. Sinclair continued snoring and lifted one eyelid just enough to see who, a tactic he often used to avoid undesirable. He pulled a pen from the pocket of his sweater vest and began to frantically jot something down on a clip. Pete stopped scribbling and glanced up from the clipboard. Whenever Luca saw his dad's, it reminded him of the days they'd pack up a couple of sandwiches and fit. Luca opened the tackle box and picked. Luca gently baited a feather onto the hook, good for skimming the surface. Luca gently baited a good for skimming the surface. Luca tied a shoestring. What fish could resist a nice... Luca gently baited a good for skimming the surface. The boys had a good thing as long as they kept old Jeff happy. They had an endless source of precious material. After Luca's father had passed, Rollo became obsessed with them building their own Hank atomic star scraper. It was some time before Luca realized it was Rollo's way of keeping him occupied. On certain nights, when the clouds were just right, the boys could tune into strange patterns of static. Rollo thinks it's aliens. He always thinks it's Luca's winter coat decommissioned for the summer. With the cold holding out longer than usual, he reconsidered. Miss Hatch could often be found near the fountain, too absorbed in a book to be distracted. Luca could see the morning regulars nestled in their booths at the Holden Wilder ran the local paper of record, the Beacon. Oh, right. Rendezvous with Roxy. This is an important turning point. The first time where your charms will change the course of fate. And currently, we only have one suitable charm in our Have no fear, we can always return later using the Chronicle once we find more charms. Well, now I'm just rambling. Where were we? Rollo froze as Roxy took a step toward him. Luca knew he had one chance to save his friend. In the past, he found the best way to deal with an enraged Roxy was to be a little chill. A bit much, if... Jeff's hardware closed down about a year ago. The effects of the foul harvest stretched wide. When there are no crops in the field, tractors don't need fix. A promise Gran regretted the second it was made. The phone booth was brand new, part of Perennial Harvest's Beacon Pines Reborn, and it didn't see much use. Luca peeked up at the beach. It appeared to be deserted. After the foul harvest destroyed their wealth and reputation, the Valentines shuttered off their estate from the rest of town. The Valentine mansion loomed over every other, both figuratively and literally. The path led into a small hollow. The fence thrummed with a gentle electric buzz. Luca often asked himself what Rollo, so that he could rule out that option. As sparks flew from the fence, the light atop that section shut off. 2 bulbs remained. One more to go. The fence's buzzing gave way. Every kid in town knew the old Valentine fertilizer building. Long abandoned, the warehouse once served as the industrial hub. Now, it stood only as a reminder of things. The dormant building showed strange signs of life. There was only one way to find out. The hose emitted a subtle sound. It was actively draining some kind of liquid. The water looked almost diseased. It flowed slowly into the woods. He heard faint sounds coming from the other side of the door. He pressed his ear against the cold metal to hear better. The sound of footsteps grew louder. The heavy steel door knocked Luke disoriented. He looked up to see an imposing figure silhouetted. It lunged toward him. He tried to scramble away, but felt a gloved hand latch onto his ankle. Luke watched his fingernails leave trails in the dirt as the hand slowly dragged him back through. This is a story about change. It was far from the sort of change Luca imagined for himself, but change is, after all, the end. I probably should have warned you about this. There are many paths that our story can. Most will end in tragedy. But don't let that discourage you. We will find the ending that the story deserves. From here on out, a charm will have a check mark when it's been used to its full potential at a given turning point. Now, let's try something. In the past, he found the best way to deal with an enraged Roxy was to be a little shit. Solomon Valentine, current ward of and future successor to the Valentine fortune, huffed as he brushed off his pants. Solomon trifled a gesture toward the approaching heiress Valentine. As the glowing windows of the old warehouse came into view, Rollo began to bounce. The boy sat petrified under the weight of the bag. Rollo felt around at the large sack which burdened them. He snapped off a tag from just within a small zipper opening in the bag. Bo held the badge up to a faint shaft of light within the dumpster. Lucas sat in the dark, tracking the sound of Rollo's footsteps. 1, 2, 3. He pressed his ear to the dumps. 15, 16, 17, 35, 36, 30. Screw it, that's long enough. Luca carefully lifted the... Nothing. No sign of Rollo. No sign to haul ass. Luca clambered from the dumpster, stumbling to... He was up like a shot and running, sprinting. Beacon Pines flew by, blurred by the tears that he wouldn't remember getting home at all that night. Throwing his front door open, storming up the stairs to his room and surrendering to sleep almost as abruptly as he hit. Chapter 3. Finding a Friend. The next morning, it was quieter than usual at the breakfast. Only the sound of silverware and chewing interrupted the awkward... Gran's brow furrowed. She let out a long sigh. Her voice was... Luca was desperate to check in with until Gran returned. A faint electronic sound floated. A pit formed in Luca's stomach. Luca's mouth felt dry. Saga could feel his heart beating.
We all know Beacon Pines is a great town. What you may not know is great towns grow from mighty roots. And that is why you cannot tell the story of Beacon Pines without telling the story of one Shopper Valentine. Young Shopper's keen intellect and strong moral fiber led to a grand vision. A vision of a community dedicated to a better tomorrow. In his own words, a better tomorrow is within our grasp, but it requires a singular mind to harness it. Lucky for us, he decided to grow that vision here, in Beacon Pine. And how does one grow a better tomorrow? With fertilizer, of course. Valentine's Fertilizer Company became the lifeblood of a town yearning for purpose. But then tragedy struck, a scientific experiment gone wrong. An accident which took Shopper away from us far too soon. To this day, we struggle to pick up the pieces. But one foul harvest isn't enough to stop the people of Beacon Pines. The spirit of Shopper Valentine lives on. It lives in the hearts of everyone with a dream for a better tomorrow. Together, we will follow his example and grow a bountiful future. Paid for by the Valentine family and the Valentine Fertilizer Company Reverence Fund.
Kato volunteered at the library during the summer. He wasn't very social, so he'd dedicate each summer to becoming an expert in a single subject, making him a reliable source of very particular knowledge. If you were to ask Kato something he didn't know, he'd escape into the dusty old bookshelves and return with just the... Kato was lost in his reading. Luca crooked his neck to see the title, Introduction to Melitology. He gestured to the shelves. The bottom corner shelf was a dusty array of thick, only one binding was clean enough to read. Cellular Biology and the Chemistry of Mitosis. Mycological Phosphorescence. The entire top level of the library was most of which were Hank Atomic and there were rarely any actual, simply a variety of existing content rotated in. Oh, the cobs I've eaten, a salad-centric travel guide for the mildly Sally Seashore's simple, succulent sundry. Luca brushed off a smudge of 30 recipes so easy. A peek behind the curtain. The methods and ruminations of Patrick C. Montesquieu, one of the greatest acting minds by Patrick C. Beck's family moved often, giving her little time to establish any real connection. She would tell you she prefers it that way. Luca shifted his feet uncomfortably. pulled a coin from her pocket. Luca felt a chill as her eyes were locked on the strange. The nearby grass was coated in a fine layer. Luca watched as Beck dipped a broken tree branch into the goo. Beck's eyes widened as flowers grew from the dead wood. First small buds, which quickly bloomed into vibrant petals. As quickly as they had grown, the flowers began to shrivel and turn gray. Beck dropped the stick with a grunt of disgust. Iggy took a step towards Luca. Beck could see tears welling in Luca's eyes. His fists clenched. Some things about Beacon Pines were very different from the city, but a bully from a hayseed town is really no different from... Beck took a deep breath and thought. Well, time to bust out the tickles. Beck lunged forward and began to tickle under Tish's arm. Tears began to form in Tish's eyes as she gasped for breath between. Beck redoubled her efforts until Tish finally had. Iggy's eyes darted around, a realization dawning on his face that he was now outnumbered. Iggy kicked at the puddle before making his escape. Beck shook the ooze out of her hair as best as she could. Chapter 4, The Best. Luca paused for a moment, catching his breath. He'd only just met Beck, and somehow he already managed to drag her into this. Hopefully he could make it up to her. But finding Rollo... Roxy and Fitz looked drained. It was clear they'd spent all day searching. Roxy's temper could often be dismissed as the impatience, but this was the most intense Luca had ever. Her eyes were wild and unfocused, looking straight in a torrent of rambled words and tears. Roxy, still exhausted and angry, softened briefly as her eyes hunted the ground and thought. With a determined sigh, she looked up at Luca. Roxy drew herself up. Roxy tried to think of the safest place to send. Luca wiped his cheeks and gave a quick nod. Looking into the puddle, Roxy rubbed her arms to warm up. Mr. Nuncreed jumped with a start. Luca motioned to the phone booth. Mr. Nuncreed gently placed one of his substantial hands. Luca peered up at Mr. Nuncreed. There was a deeper emotion hiding. It was subtle, but Luca could sense something eating away at him. There was a deep sadness. If Mr. Nuncreed was that worried about Rollo, Mr. Nuncreed raised an eyebrow. Mr. Nuncreed's shoulders slumped. A deep sigh bellowed from his... Luca attempted to take a step back, but Nuncreed's hand clamped down. With a firm shove, Nuncreed manhandled Luca into the... The door latched shut with a mechanical hiss. As Luca pounded the glass, the floor, the inside of the phone booth was now a loose capsule plummeting at gravity's whim. Luca winced and pressed his hands to the wall. As he braced for impact, the capsule hurried to a surprisingly smooth... He felt a cold rush of air and opened. Two large figures in hazmat suits occluded his view. Luca heard the deep, resigned voice of Mr. Nuncreed. He knows too much. The end. Wait, this isn't the end. I know there's still much. Somehow this went wrong. Okay, let's try. Well, time to bust out the strange. stared in silence, the only sign of life being the twitch of an eye. At the sight of Iggy taunting back, something in Luca snapped. Iggy's smirk shifted to a look of shock as Luca launched himself into his stomach. Iggy's clothes were drenched in the glow. Iggy's voice began to slur as he struggled to get up. Person at the warehouse, this strange ooze, and what it did to Iggy. Was Rollo caught up in all of this? Beck glanced toward Luca. Rollo. A wave of relief washed over Luca. Gran is going to... If he hurried, he might just make it... Chapter 4. Our Harvest. Luca took a deep breath and gingerly opened the door, steeling himself for Gran. The house was empty. Luca was sitting by the pond, listening to small waves lap. His father sat in a folding chair in front without turning. Why don't you grab me some nice bait? Sure thing, Dad. Luca hopped over to the tackle box and popped it. Inside was a rolling, buzzing. We're fishing with bees? Luca's father gave a warm chuck. Well, you catch more fish with bees than honey. Luca closed his eyes and plucked out a bee. He could feel its wings struggle between his finger and holding it at arm's length. He hurried over. His father deftly baited the hook. Interesting choice. With a practiced flick of the wrist, the line the water accepted it without a splash. The wrong choice. The pond began to freeze. Sometimes we gotta make the wrong choice before we can. Pallid ice propagated across the still surface with an alarm. Luca scrambled back as the ground beneath him turned. Dad, sorry, kiddo. Understanding is it. The relentless ice shot through the fishing line toward his father. Dad, look out! His father casually wound. None of it's your fault, you know. Never was. Dad, we have to go. Luca grabbed his father's shoulders, trying, please. You have. The ice crackled as it spread across. That's the thing about fishing, Luca. His chest began to crystallize. You toss your hook in, and you never know what you're gonna pull out. A shock of searing cold ran up Luca's arms. He gave the chair tipped backwards in a single frozen mass. Luca tried to stop the momentum. He watched the icy form of his father slam into the hard ground, shattering into 1,000 pieces. That Dad, I don't understand. The gentle rustle of leaves would... Luca's eyes struggled to focus on the water. Faintly, he could hear Rollo among... Lolo's voice was coming through more clearly now, but some words were still just static. The signal went silent. Luca held still, his pounding heartbeat marking the passage of time. Lolo's voice began to fade. With that, the signal died for good. Luca grabbed the walkie-talkie and sprinted to the... Luca heard a group of foot. He dashed behind the bushes to avoid being spotted. Mr. Tolliver paused, shifting his eyes to one side. Mr. Tolliver took one long, quiet breath. The three shared a determined... For a town that saw few visitors, the welcome was perhaps more grand than... The two boys shared a mischievous group. Luca wrapped some tape. Hey, you never know. Luca stuck a toy. Those things always get dirty. Luca placed a singer. Sometimes the best stuff is up. Luca could only see a cloaked shape behind the rocket. He strained to hear as a muffled voice began. Fear gripped Luca's throat. Luca stared at the ground for a moment, trying to place the dampened voice. The figure shifted slowly from behind the rocket, revealing itself to Luca. Luca reached over empathetically. Iggy's tone jolted to dejected anger. Luca slumped to the ground, overwhelmed by guilt. Iggy slumped to his knees. Luca grabbed the walkie-talkie and headed for the window. Luca and Iggy climbed up the back of the treehouse to its roof, where Rollo had constructed his MCD, the Mission Control Defense Cannon. From behind the crowd of clipboards, William Kerr strode forward, a warm smile. faltered. Luca's grip tightened on the MCD. Luca's mind raced. He was caught in a trap. He wiped his cheeks with a sleeve. What are you gonna do, Luca? Luca drew himself up. He swung the mission control defense cannon around, aiming it confidently at... Luca summoned his most insolent... turned his back on the... With a nonchalant wave of the hand, he made his exit. As the clipboards began to slowly advance on the treehouse, Luca looked to Iggy with the end. That escalated quickly. Maybe let's put a pin in this. This is a story about struggle. Luca could hear a machine humming. He felt around wildly, searching for something, anything that could help. His hands found a hard object. He yanked it free, lifting the cold stone. Let Luca swung the tile as hard as he could at the shape that still held fast to his leg. He heard the crack of glass as the stone hit the assailant's mask. With a muffled yelp, Luca was free and scrambled to He never looked back once on the... Chapter 3. Everything's fine. The next morning, it was quieter than usual at the breakfast table. Only the sound of silverware and chewing. Valentine, oldest of Sharper Valentine's children, and heir to the Valentine fortune, had a way of making questions seem like demand. Mr. Wilder had learned to assume that it was because she had taken issue with something he Mr. Wilder averted his gaze and began to polish his monocle. Huddled at his counter, Hiram Tolliver was meticulously shining. With a yelp, Mr. Tolliver fumbled the apple, flailing at the air as he leaned forward. He leaned in a bit further. Mr. Tolliver leaned back, speaking loud enough for anyone to hear. He reached forward and snapped up the jars of jam, giving Luca a little wink. He leaned in for a final. Kato motioned to the book in front of him. Mr. Nuncreed eyed Luca for a moment. Luca handed the jam to Mr. Nuncreed, and he nestled it with both. dreams of becoming a big... At night, she searched for the story. By day, she hawked papers at the new... She leaned forward and pinched Luca shifted the basket. Mrs. Fratelli lifted the cloth and inspected. Luca squinted at the faded photo of him. Memories of that day came flooding. Luca glanced at the empty seat across from Gus. Jeff slapped the table and gave Luca a toothy grin. Beck locked eyes with Luca. The look on her face was equal parts expectant and desperate. Beck gave Luca a quick nudge. Jeff dug through his pockets. Beck took a long breath, then gave a firm Chapter 4. Dinner with the Moodwill. Ilona Moodwill was worried about change. A gardener at heart. She understood but there was a difference between the controlled world of her plants and this almost done. Nellie was a blur of activity, digging through boxes. Sorry, love. Couldn't find the dishes. We'll have... Dinner went by without much conversation as she watched Beck and Luca finish up their pizza. Ilona let herself relax. The things she cared about were... Nellie finally had the job of her dream. Beck was beginning to take root. Ilona's task was simply to tend to them. She could do that. Luca's eyes were fixed to his plate, pushing a chunk of pineapple around with it. Nellie was the one who eventually broke the silence. Ilona nervously gestured toward the boxes. Luca wiped his face with his sleeve. Beck gave Luca a swift kick under the table. Luca glanced over to Beck. She seemed to be holding her breath. Beck slammed her fist into the table, perhaps harder than she intended. Luca glanced outside to gauge the time. The sky was darker than he expected, filled. Luca wiped his mouth one last time with his napkin and started to get up. Surprised, Luca turned around. He knew Rollo could be, but Beck seemed cool. Rollo would probably. Luca began to respond, but the sky answered for him as the clouds above began to break, revealing patches of star-filled summer night. Moonlight. Luca stopped himself mid-sentence. Luca saw Beck skulking by the... Beck grabbed the wrought iron bars and shook the gate. Lucas's voice was an excited whisper. The mysterious figure retracted their mask, hair pushing out from all corners. A chill ran down Luca's spine. His vision blurred. Beck stifled a sharp wince, and Luca looked down to see himself wrenching her hand. Gran tousled her hair back under the face mask. Gran gave Eris a curt nod and disappeared into... Chapter 5. What big ears you... Lucas sat, shivering in the bushes. After checking to make sure the coast was clear, Beck gave him a gentle tug on his... The clipboard finished writing with a scratchy flourish and looked up. Mr. Nuncreed, arms crossed over his paunch, he snatched the pad and scribbled his name so hard. The clipboards looked at each other for a moment, almost then broke into laughter as they walked away. William Kerr and Gus Valentine proudly surveyed the half-covered festival. The mayor gave a half-hearted shrug. Kerr locked his arm on Gus's shoulder. With a glimmer in his eye, Kerr gestured grandly toward the horizon. Rollo waggled his head with pride. Luca sucked in a long breath. Rollo let out a low whistle. Rollo and Luca shot back a look. Luca gazed out the window. Chapter 6. Summer forged ahead, but the nights only seemed to grow colder. Luca walked home slowly under the pale starlight, cautious to avoid any more surprises lurking in the shadow. Reaching home, he slipped quietly into bed, half dreading what they might discover the next day. Luca and Beck rolled their eyes as Rollo strutted across the room. Rollo flung open the cabinet with confidence. He coughed as a look of realization crept onto Luca. All three kids snapped to glance at each other, then sprinted in turn. Before he could finish, Luca scrambled up Rollo's back. The three crowded around the hutch. With the glass doors opened, a perfect porcelain display gleamed, and their eyes searched for anything amiss. But the only distinct feature was its impact. As Beck pulled on one of the teacups, it slanted forward with a hollow click. The entire hutch began to rustle and slide under it. Luca jostled each cabinet drawer in turn. He fingered through the filing cabinet, pausing at a bulging folder labeled. For a long moment, he just stared at Luca nodded and caressed the label with his thumb. Rollo swiped the folder from the drawer and began leafing through the pages. He whistled to himself, barely looking at it. He stopped at a page and mimed, holding up a monocle. Rollo looked up with heightened surprise. Rollo's finger traced across the page. Rollo scanned through several more pages. Luca, staring blankly at the cabinet this whole time, spoke softly. Rollo rustled the folder, trying to loose more pages. Luca frantically shoved the remaining cabinet folders, trying to find another labeled Walter. Luca slammed the drawer shut. A spider web of string interspersed with hastily scrawled. Rollo casually spun open a lid and dipped his finger in the jam. He smacked his lips. Rollo plunged his hand in the jar, fishing out a soggy slip of paper. Rollo offered the slimy note to Luca and licked his fingers clean. They crowded around a worn-down old map. Rollo carefully traced the path with his finger. He jabbed down at the end point. Luca looked up from the Beck flicked off the light, and they became statues overhead, creaking floorboards bent under slow, deliberate. The kids looked up, the tilt of their necks following each. Then suddenly, without realizing, they'd been holding their breath. All three exhaled. A muffled male voice broke the silence. A final few footsteps reached the entrance above them, and the voice now echoed down the stair. The three kids shuffled to the corners without a peep. As he began to descend the stairs, the man's voice punctuated thump, 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 thump. At the bottom step, the man paused. Rollo shifted suddenly. Luca gave him an intense, chastising look and whispered through clenched. It was too late. Rollo was already inching toward the stairway. He screeched as he charged toward the shadowy figure. With all his weight, Rollo tackled the man. From the dark corner, they saw something move. Luca scrambled to the hunched figure on the ground. Pressing his fingers to the man's neck, he sighed. As Beck flicked back on the light, Luca and Rollo both gasped in stare. Chapter 7. The Interrogation of Hiram Tolliver. Still unconscious, Mr. Tolliver slumped heavily in a shoddy old chair. His hands were bound with rope, his feet tied with some loose string. The kids huddled in a circle, discussing their plan. One thing was certain, they needed to know what he was doing. After some deliberation, they'd run the classic good cop, chill cop interrogation. Luca walked calmly to the light switch, flicking it off and on. Mr. Tolliver shook his head, gathering his... He looked over to find Luca, who returned... Rollo and Beck emerged from hiding to give a timid... Luca glanced over to Rollo and Beck, who replied with skeptical looks. Mr. Tolliver exhaled with disappointment. Luca gestured to the corner. Luca looked again to Rollo and Beck. This time they shrugged. Luca began to slowly loosen the bindings. Mr. Tolliver gently rubbed his wrists. He edged imperceptibly toward... Before the kids had even noticed his movement, Mr. Tolliver was at the... He punctuated his final words by flicking the switch and rushing up the stairs. Beck darted to the wall and turned back on the lights. It was too late. Rollo confirmed what they all heard. Mr. Tolliver's muffled voice came from behind the door. They looked bewildered at each other. They heard the staccato thump of quick steps. The kids looked down. This isn't how it goes in Hank Atomic. For some reason, they'd always assumed it was up to... Luca opened his mouth, hoping to conjure only a hollow croak as the end. Well, we certainly aren't going to find a grand resolution to our tale. Back to the drawing board. Luca began to respond. Luca surveyed the roiling clouds. At that moment, the heavens opened up, Luca squinted into the eye hole of the... Luca adjusted the slide with his fingers to get a better look. Luca wiped his hand off on his sweater and gave a nervous laugh. Beck looked down, timidly tapping the ladder with her feet. Luca flicked at one of the toggles. bent down to examine. Judging by the odor, they were well. He flipped open the attached card. Beck took a moment to watch the rivulets of water running down the window. Luca took a deep breath. Luca let out a feral scream that... Her voice dropped to a trembling. Beck brushed off her shirt and straightened up. As abruptly as it began, the storm abated. Beck gave Luca a light thump on the arm before heading in. Chapter 5, Friendly Feud. The air was heavy with the smell of wet. Despite his dreary surroundings, he'd never shared those details about not even Rollo. But it's not like this changed anything. Rollo was adding Beck to the group would help balance things out. Everything's better in threes. This is what Luca told himself as he headed. Luca wrapped a twig of some fish half. Luca had only ever heard him speak in this stiff yet gentle tone, and it always meant one. Rollo scoffed. Luca stumbled on his words, knowing he'd. Luca became instinctively angry, and both boys were now shouting across the distance. Rollo's tone changed to a calm, yet more. The words hung in the cold night air. Rollo's stomach dropped, knowing he'd crossed, but it was too late. Luca dug through his old stuff, not even Gran cooed gently. Luca he waited to hear the sound of the front. Luca dozed off. Luca still couldn't bring himself to go out. Besides, if he ran into Rollo, he'd have to actually confront the situation. The Adventures of... Luca carefully opened the cover. Rollo had received it for his birth, a special hardcover edition with behind-the-scenes commentary. Rollo cherished it, but asked that Luca wasn't sure if it was because Rollo didn't trust himself with it, didn't trust his... or just wanted an excuse to come here, whatever the reason. But it had stayed right there where Rollo had stopped. Now, at the foot of his bed, Luca lost himself in the page. He'd read it all before, but at this, he was well into issue number 5 when he heard soft footsteps. Without realizing it, Luca had pouted away. He once again felt the weight of it all and allowed his weary eyes. Luca stood in a vast... He looked up at his father standing. Walt was working a straw at the bottom of a fountain glass. Dad. Taking a final loud gurgling sip, he jangled the straw playfully, then lifted the empty glass as if to point the source. Luca's eyes followed his father's gesture. In an instant, he was sitting in front of a blaze. Across from him sat a large figure, and the figure's voice was a scratchy, "Well, if it isn't the... Make yourself..." Luca held his shivering hands over the... It doesn't work. Their yellow-gloved hand pointed to the base of... It's a cold flame. Luca peered at the base of the fire. It wasn't wood that was burning. Tiny buildings, freezing and crumbling. Luca could see small shadows moving in the burned people. Luca leapt to his feet. "We've got to help them." The figure gave a dismissive wave of their hand. "Why waste energy helping people who can't even..." The figure bent down to examine the panicked crowd as they desperately tried to stop the flame. "They only care about what's right, not like us." Luca's voice was a trembling whisper. "Us?" The figure slowly stood up, grabbing its helmet with a jolt and a twist. The suit. A cloud of torpid mist escaped, slowly revealing the face. Luca's own face looked back at him, older, worn. The sensation was as if he'd caught his own reflection by surprise. The doppelganger smiled. "I tried to help once." He gestured towards his face. "And all it got me was this." Luca staggered back. "You?" Luca felt a hand catch his shoulder. His father was there again, beside him. "Every choice set. This is the end of one of your paths." Luca watched his older self shake its head ruefully. Its face "Welp, Dad. If you wanted him to see this, far be it from me." Luca watched in shock as the figure took a confident step forward and plunged into the in a flash of cold light. "What does all..." Luca felt a reassuring squeeze on his shoulder. "Just remember, why we choose matters just as much as what." Luca woke up to see a hazy figure at the foot of his bed, silhouetted in the... Luca rubbed the kind, concerned face of his... Gran silenced Luca with a gentle pat. Luca gave a reluctant... Luca took a deep breath. Chapter Chapter 6, Through Thick and Thin. Despite Luca's bitterness, Gran was right. A big fight changes the nature of a friendship. Whether, in the end, it is for the better if one is not careful. The same for Luca emerged from seclusion, but the events of the day weren't on his mind. He had to find... Roxy rolled her eyes, shaking her. Luca looked down and kicked at the dirt. For a town that saw few visitors, the... Mr. Kerr pointed to his grinning mouth. Jeff was staring into the Jeff turned to Luca with a then gave an For a moment, the two now shared that same whisper. Griffin looked away suspiciously. Kato's eyes lit. Kato straightened up and cleared his throat as if prepared. Kato stared at Luca eagerly. Luca grabbed the modern science of atomic radiation from the shelf. Luca grabbed Natural Photography, Volume 5, from the shelf. Luca grabbed the 5 Pillars of Success. Luca grabbed The Issue with Self-Help, a helpful guide. Luca grabbed 500 Meals for One Big Pot. Luca grabbed The Adventures of Hank Atomic, issue number 4. Luca grabbed The Adventures of Hank Atomic, issue number 5 from removed his book from the desk and replaced it with Luca's, turning on the lamp. As he slid the book under the purple light to The Adventures of Hank Atomic, issue 5. Luca clicked his tongue with recognition. Began flipping through the pages, stopping when he hit a glowing word. He continued flipping. Reaching the end of the book, Kato looked up. Before Luca could finish his sentence, Luca shrugged, taking a sizable bite out of the corn dog. Luca tongued at his cheeks, feeling something rough between. He reached into his mouth and pulled out a slip of paper. He shook off the bits of corn dog to read the slip. Luca finished off the remainder of the corn dog. Lumi waved his hands around sarcastically. Rollo sheepishly handed Luke. Luca threw himself at Rollo, hugging him as... Rollo handed Luca an unopened letter. Luca, some things are going to happen that might be difficult if I am honest. I hardly, but whatever happens, I need you to know none of this is fair to you. You have already lost. We both. I wish there was a simpler way forward. But if there is, God knows I've tried everything I've done. I did for. I hope someday you can accept that. Love, Gran. Luca folded the paper into his pocket and headed up the ladder. Luca was at a loss for, but that was fine. Words aren't always necessary. Sadly, this was untrue. A distant rumble shook the treehouse. It was not firework. It was something the boys couldn't possibly comprehend, something as old and cruel. A shockwave of cold tore through the room. A bitter. Before they could react, two boys, reunited by friendship, only. And so, our story in a silent treehouse turned statuary, in a town brought low by its seek for the rest of time. The end. No, that can't be. I won't accept it. There are more endings. We are just going to have to sort through them all until we find the one. Luca drew. He squinted down the barrel of the mission control defense cannon. He looked up with surprise at Luca and Iggy win. The branches clawed at them, after what felt like a marathon. Luca stopped in his tracks as they reached the clearing. What the? That was all he was able to say before Iggy slammed into his back. The boys tumbled down a steep decline and crashed with a wheeze. In fact, Chapter 5. Sign. They stood silently. The sky was with each breath a plume of steam. Let's keep moving. Luca pulled Iggy to his feet as they gazed across a snowy terrain.